This conference will now be recorded.
Fine, guys. Let me go and open one notepad. Now, what we'll discuss now in today's session is we're going to discuss about something called one new concept called data operations. So, in today's class, we'll go and discuss about what it is data operations. Now, what is this data operations means? What is the use of this data operations in Power Automate? In the Power Automate, uh, what is the use of this data operations is? Data operations are used to manipulate the data in the flows. So what is the use of this data operations means? Data operations are used to manipulate the data in the flows. So manipulation is nothing but what means changing the data. So whenever if you want to go and manipulate the data in the flows, then we need to go and use the data operations. Now we have the different types of data operations in Power Automate. Now, what are the different types of data operations we'll have here is the first one is compose. The first data operation is compose, and the second data operation we'll have here is join, and third data operation is select. Fourth data operation is filter array, and next one is create a CSV table. CSV stands for what? Comma separated value. Next, create an HTML table. If you want to create a HTML table, that is hypertext markup language, to create an HTML tables, we need to go and use it. And next one is what? Parse JSON. So these are the different types of data operations we are having this. So totally how many data operations is there? Totally we'll have the 7 data operations in Power Automate. What is the use of this data operations means? Data operations are used to manipulate the data in the flows. So data operations are used to manipulate the data in the flows, or to manipulate the data. We need to go and use this different types of data operations. Totally, there are 7 types of data operations are available. Now, let me go and discuss one by one here, guys. First, let me go and discuss about the compose. Now, what is the functionality of this compose data operation? Compose is one of the data operation. Now, what is the functionality of this compose is? Try to understand, guys. When to go and use the compose data operation is, when to go and use it is, uh, when we are entering, the same data in multiple times within the flow, then in this case we can go and use the compose. That means whenever if you are trying to enter the same data within the flows for multiple times, instead of going and entering the same data for multiple times, you can go and use the compose. So the next point we need to understand here is compose is used to store the data. Basically what the compose will do means compose will store the data. Compose is used to store the data. And next point here is compose can store any type of data type values. So compose can store either string values, compose can store the numerical values, compose can go and store the array of values. So whatever the data you want to store in the compose, you can go and store any type of data values. So compose is used to store the data. What data? Whatever the data you are enter multiple times within the flow, you can go and keep that data in the compose, and you can reuse that in multiple places. You can reuse that in the multiple places within the flows. So next, finally, one more point here is compose is static. Compose is static. What is this point? Compose is static. You'll understand at the time of creating the flows. So these are the points you need to understand what's meant by compose case. When to go and use the compose, the first point you need to understand is whenever if you want to enter the same kind of data in multiple times within the flow. And in this case, go and use the compose. Instead of going and hard coding the value multiple times within the flow, go and store that data in one compose. So compose is used to store the data. Go and store the data within the compose. Now what data the compose can store? Compose can store any type of data type values. And also compose is static, or how the compose is static you'll understand at the time of creating the flows. And also one more point you need to understand, this compose is equivalent to variables. So already we discussed about the variables in Power Automate, guys. Already we discussed about the variables in Power Automate. Now, how the variables will work? The same functionality will be applicable for this compose also. Basically, variables are used for what? Basically, variables are used to store some data temporarily. So let's say you can go and create one variable. Let's say A is the variable. Now, I'm storing some value in this variable. So what is the value the A variable is holding? 10. So just I'm storing some value in that variable where I can go and use it multiple times within the flow. So how the variables will work? In the same way the compose also will work. But there are some few differences will be there. What are the differences will be the compose and variable? You'll understand. Compose is equivalent to a variable. But the way you are defining the variables is different, but the way you are going to define the compose is different. But the functionality is same. There are few differences. You'll understand. So keep in mind, compose is also equivalent to the variables. How the variables will work? The same way the compose will work. So this is what is meant by compose. And these are the two examples I will go and explain you to work with the compose case. Let me go and open the Power Automate. Let me show you how to go and store some data in the compose. So let me go and open the Power Automate. Make dot powerautomate.com. Let me go to the create tab. Let me go and select the instant cloud flow. Let me select the instant cloud flow. Let me keep the name as data operations. Let me keep the name as what? Flow name as data operations, and select the trigger as manually trigger a flow. Now switch back to the old designer. Now what is the trigger is manually trigger a flow. Now what's the first step here is go and add an action, guys. Now I want to go and create a compose. Now I want to go and use one data operation, that is compose. Go to the new step. Now here search for data operations. Search for what? Data operations. Just go and select this one, guys. Data operations. So now search for data operations. Go and select this one. Select it. Now see, it will go and displays all the data operations here. Now see, these are the different types of data operations are available. First one is what? Compose. Next one is create a CSV table, create an HTML table, array filter, filter array, join, parse JSON, and select. These are the different types of data operations we'll have. What is the use of these data operations? These are used to manipulate the data in the flows. So what is the data operation I want to go and take is, let me go and select the compose. Let me select the compose. Now see, compose action data operation is asking us to pass what? Input. That means what value you want to store in this compose. I said that compose is just like a variable. So what value you want to store in this compose now? So let's say I want to store one of the employee name. Let's say I want to store one of the employee name. So any value, guess. One is the name. And let me go and rename this compose. By default is keeping the name as compose. Always better to go and rename the actions. Let me rename it to ename. So what is the reason I'm creating this compose means? Or a compose is just like a variable. So in this compose, I'm storing some value as what? Ename. What's the name I'm storing in this variable or in this compose? Employee name as Warner. And next, go and add another step, guys. Go and add another step. Now here also let me go and search for data operations. Now select the data operation. Now let me go and select the compose again. Let me select the compose again. Now here what in this compose, what I want to store means I want to store an array. Now see, this is called as an array, guys. I want to store this multiple values. Let's say I'm having the multiple employee emails here, pinky@gmail.com. sunil@gmail.com and sesi@gmail.com. I want to this that now the data is in the form of an array. Now I want to store this data in this compose action. Just copy and paste it here. Just keep it like this. Now see what I'm doing here is I'm just saving some data here. So it is in which format means I'm passing the in the form of an array. I'm passing the data in the form of what? An array. So let me go and rename this compose to array. Let me rename this to an array. So I'm having two composes here. In one compose I'm storing what? Employee name. And in one compose I'm storing what? An array of values. So an array of values. Now just save it. Just save it. Now test the flow. Test the flow manually. Click on run flow. Now let me show you how this compose is storing the data, how it is going to store the data. Now see, first I'm creating one compose here. So storing the employee name. Now I'm not telling to the compose what value you want to store in the compose. So I said that compose can store what values? Compose can store any type of data type values. Any value the compose can store, not a specific value. Now see the input I'm passing here, this is the input I'm passing, and what's the output is keeping here? Warner is the name. Now if I go and check the output, now see it is keeping the Warner in what? Within the double quotes. Whatever you are keeping within the double quotes, it is what? It is a string. Whatever you are keeping in the double quotes, it is a string. I am telling to the compose, go and store the data in the form of a string. No, I'm not telling to the compose that. So whatever the data I'm entering here, with the help of this data as a reference, by taking this data as a reference, compose itself can understand what type of data I'm entering here. I'm entering the data. What type of data is? It is a string. Now if you go to the second one, that is an array. Now this is the input I'm passing, array of elements. So I'm not telling here what is the value I'm passing here. When I go and check in the output, now see, now what is the data type it is keeping now? It is keeping the data type as an array. So this let's say now I want to go and use this ename in multiple places in the flow, or let's say I want to go and use this array, whatever the values I'm having in this compose, these values are stored in where now? In this compose. What's the compose name? Array. So if you want to go and use these two composes anywhere in the flow, you can go and reuse them instead of going and hard coding the value Warner. Just go and use this compose instead of going hard coding this array of values. Just go and use this compose. So you can go and reuse it in multiple places within the flows. And also I said that this compose is what? Compose is just like a variable. Now let me go and show you how the variables are different from the compose. So almost both are same. Variables are used to store some data. Compose is also used to store the data, but the way you are going to store the data is different. So here in the compose, we are storing the data in this format. So I'm not telling to the Power Automate, go and store what data I want to store in this. I want to store either string. I'm not telling. So based on the value I'm passing here, automatically it is understanding that what is the value I'm entering. It is automatically taking one data type. It is taking the data type as what? String. It is taking the data type as what? An array. Now let me go and declare one variable. So go to the new step. Let me go and search for variables. Now if you see, I'm having the different types of variables here, guys. Let me go and take the variable as initialize a variable. So I want to initialize one variable. I want to declare one variable. So let me pass the variable name. First asking us to pass what's the name of that variable. Let's say the variable name I'm keeping here is var ename. The variable name is what? Var ename. Now into this variable, what type of values you want to store? You need to pass the data type here, guys. In the variables, mandatorily you need to go and pass that data type here. What values you want to store in this variable? So whether you want to store the Boolean values, whether you want to store the integer values in this variable. In this variable, you want to store the float value, string, object, or an array. What values you want to store in this variable? So let's say I'm selecting here string values. So here when I'm initializing the variable name is var ename, and then next I'm passing what here? Data type. That means in this variable, what value I want to store? I want to store only what values? String values. Let me go and enter the value here. Let's say the name I'm entering here is Smith. The name I'm entering here is Smith. Next, once after this, let me go and add one more step here, guys. Let me go and add. Just I'm initializing the variable here. Variable name is var ename. Data type is string. What is the value I'm assigning here? Smith. Now once here, already I'm assigning the value as a Smith. Now once if you assign the value to the variables, again in between the flow, once the variable assigned to them, once the value is assigned to the variable, in between, if you want to go and change the value of that variable, you can go and change. By using what? You can go and change the values of that variable with the help of set variable. So go and use this variable set variable. Now see, here it is asking us to pass the variable name. What's that variable you want to set? Var ename. Now what's the value you want to assign? Let's say I want to assign the name as what? Scott. So if you see, at the time of initializing the variable, I'm assigning one value. Once if you assign the value, in between the flow, anywhere if you want to go and change the value of this variable, you can go and change it here. Now see, here it is storing the value as Smith, but here I'm storing the value as what? Scott. Now when I go and save the flow, when I run this, let me test the flow. Let me test it. Now see, first I'm initializing one variable here. So the variable name is var ename. Data type is string. Now what's the value I'm storing? Smith. Once the variable is declared, once after assigning the value to that variable, in between, within the flow, if you want to change the variable value, you can go and change. Now by default, what is the variable is holding the value? Smith. But now what is the value it is holding here? Scott. So if you declare a variable in between the flow, once after assign the values to the variables, if you want to go and change the value of that variable, you can go and change it. But if you want to go and change the value of this compose, means once after getting the compose, in between the flow, if you want to change, no, we are not able to change the values of the compose in between the flow. That's what I'm keeping here, guys. If you observe, I said that compose is static. Once if you create a compose, once if you assign the value in between the flow, you are not able to change the value of that compose. By default, it will store the value as what? Warner only. We are not able to change it. But if you go and declare a variable, first you can initialize one variable and you can assign one value. In between the flow, if you want to change the value in that variable, yes, you can go and change it. This is the difference between the compose and variables. Both are used to store the data only, but compose is static. In between the flow, we are not able to change the values of the compose, but variables are dynamic. You can change the values of the variables in between the flow also. This is the differences between the compose and variables. And also one more difference is, whenever if you are declaring a variable, mandatory you need to set what? Data type. What value you want to store in this variable. But when I go and create a compose, when I go and declare a compose, I am passing the data type here? No. Directly I want to pass what? Value. Based on the value you are entering, automatically it will take the data type of that value. We no need to pass data type. These are the two differences between the compose and variables. In the interviews, there may be a chance of asking this question. What is meant by variable? What is meant by compose? What is the difference between these two? So please make a note of this point, guys. Fine. So this is what is meant by compose. Next, what is the second data operator? Join. Now, what is this join data operation? The second one is join data operation. Now, what is this join means? Now, try to understand, guys. The join data operation, it is used to delimit the array with a separator. What is the use of this join? Join data operation is used to delimit the array with a separator. Now see, this is the array. This is the input I am passing. This is the array. So venki@gmail.com, comma, manoj@gmail.com, comma, rupesh@gmail.com. This is the array. Now, whatever the values is there in this array, I want to separate each and every value with a delimiter. What's the delimiter? These are the mails. So I want to separate each and every mail with what? A semicolon. I want to separate each and every email what? With semicolon. So what is the expected output I'm expecting here? Is this the output? Venki@gmail.com, semicolon. Next, sunil@gmail.com, semicolon. Next, sesi@gmail.com, semicolon. So this is the output I'm expecting. Let me do one thing. Just copy it, keep it here. Fine, let me keep it like this. This is the data I'm having here, guys. Now this is an array. Now I want to keep delimit the array with what? A semicolon. Whatever the separator it is, I'm keeping here what? A semicolon. Now let me go and show you how to delimit the array with a with an array with an delimiter, guys. How to separate the elements in an array with a delimiter. Let me go to this and let me go and one new step. Let me go and search for what? Data operations. Now what's the data operation I want to select now? Join. Let me go and select the data operation as join. Now see, from here you need to pass the array. Join operation will expect us to pass what? Array. So what is the array I'm passing here is? Now see, already in one compose, this is one compose, right? In this compose, already I'm having what? Array of values. Now whatever the values I'm having here, I want to delimit the array of values with what? A semicolon. Now let me go and pass here from. In the from, I'm going to pass the output of array. Output of array. This action, this action output, I want to pass it here. Array of array. Let me go and select this output of an array. Next, join with whatever the items I'm having in this array. I want to delimit them with what? Semicolon. Delimit with what? Semicolon. Now just save the flow. Let me check. Let me save the flow. Let me check. It is separating the values in an array with a delimiter semicolon or not. Let me test it. Let me test the flow. Now see, this is the join action. What's the input for this join action? The input for this join action is an array. Now see, this is an array. This is an array I'm passing. Now what's the delimiter I'm passing here? Semicolon. Now let me go and check the output. Now if you go and check the output, now see, all the values in this are delimited. That is separated by with what? Semicolon or not? Yes. Winky@gmail.com semicolon. Sunil@gmail.com semicolon. Sasi@gmail.com semicolon. So like this, if you want to delimit, if you want to go and delimit the array of values, either whatever the delimiter it is, guys, either semicolon, whatever you want to keep, you can go and keep it. So whenever if you want to delimit the array of values with some separator, then go and use what? Join operation. Join data operation. And next, what's the next one? The next one is select. Now what is the use of this select data operation is? Now try to understand, guys. The select, what is the use of this select data operation is? It is used to transform the shape of the objects in an array. It is used to transform the shape of the objects in an array. And not only transform the shape means, transforming means we can add or remove or rename the elements in each object of an array. In each object of an array. So transforming the shape of the objects means you can add the elements to an object of an array. You can remove the elements from the array of objects. You can rename the elements of the objects in an array. How to go and add the objects? Sorry, how to go and add the elements, remove the elements, and rename the elements within the object of an array? You'll understand. So keep in mind, select is used for what? To transform the shape of the objects in an array. Now see, this is the array I'm having. This is the array. So in this array, I'm having what here is objects. So this is one object. This is one object. This is an object. Array contains what? Objects. Now objects contains what? Elements. Now see, course is one element. Duration is one element. Trainer is one element. So what the array contains what means objects. What the objects contains? Elements. Now see, Here, this is the array I'm having. Now, what's my requirement here is I want to remove the elements in the array of objects. I want to rename the elements in the array of objects, or I want to add the elements to an array of objects. Now, how to go and add, remove, or rename the elements in the array of objects? Let me go and show you. So let me go to this Power Automate. Let me go and add an action. So what's that action I want to add now? Data operations. What's the data operation I want to add now? Select. Under the data operations, I want to go and set what now? Select data operation. Select this. Now it is asking from. So here you need to go and pass the array of elements. I said that clearly. Select is for what? It is used to transform the shape of an array. So input must and should be an array. So let me pass the array. So what is the array I'm passing here is directly, instead of going and copy this and paste it in the from, what I will do here is I will go and use one compose. Before the select, I will go and use one compose. Go and add an action. Add an action before the select. So I'm going to use one compose here. Compose data operation. Select the compose. Now the input I'm passing here is what? The array. So whatever the array I'm having here, the same array I'm just copying and then pasting it here. Just save it. Just keep it like this. Now let me rename it to array of objects. Let me rename it to what? Array of objects. Fine. Now go to the selector. Now from here, I'm going to pass the array of objects output. Whatever the values is there in the array of objects, that values I'm going to pass. Next, mapping. Now what is this mapping? Now see, I said that we can go and transform the data. In this transforming the shape of the object, first I will go and show you how to rename the elements in an object. So not, let's say, what's the name I'm having for this first element? Course. I want to rename this to course name. I want to rename it to what? Course to course name. I want to rename the elements in the object. So I want to rename the course to course name. I want to change the duration to course duration. I want to change the trainer to trainer name. I want to change the trainer to trainer name. How to rename the elements in the objects of an array? Let me go and show you how to rename it, guys. Now see, mapping. In the mapping, I'm passing what here is course name. First one is what? I'm changing the course to course name. Now here in the values, I need to go and enter one function here, guys. This is the function I want to go and add. So let me select this items. I want to go and use this function. Now go to this enter values, go to the enter values, and then go to the expressions here. Go to the expression and just copy and paste it here. Just copy and paste items, open brackets and close brackets, question mark, and then from the items, what I want to select? Course. So just click on OK. Now it is adding the one item. Next, what's the next item it is there? It is the duration. I want to change the name to what? Course duration. Let me change the duration to course duration. Course duration. Now let me go and pass here. Go to the expressions. Again, just copy and paste the same. Now in place of course, let me go and take here what? Duration. Let me click on OK. Next, go and keep the next one is what? Trainer. I want to change the name to what? Trainer name. Let me go and change it to trainer name. Let me go to the enter data, enter values, go to the expressions, just copy and paste. Now in place of course, what I want to rename it here? I want to rename it to trainer. Just click on OK. Now I'm going to rename the elements in the objects of an array. So these are the objects, these are the elements in the object: course, duration, and trainer. I'm changing the names here, guys. Course to course name, duration to course duration, and trainer to trainer name. Let me go and check whether I'm able to rename the elements in the objects of an array or not. Now just go and click on save. Click on save. Now go and test it. Let me check it is transforming the data or not. Transforming is what transformation I'm doing here? Renaming the elements. Just click on done. Now go here. This is the select statement. Select data operation. Go to this. What's the input? So the input I'm passing here is what? Array. This is the input I'm passing. Course, duration, and trainer. So if you go to the output, now what's the output is keeping? I'm changing the elements names or not? By default is what? Course, but I'm changing to what? Course name. By default is duration, but I'm changing the name to what? Course duration. By default is trainer. I'm changing the trainer to what? Trainer name. So if you want to rename the elements of an object, yes, you can go and rename it. So first you can go and rename the elements in the objects of an array. Next, I said that you can go and remove the elements from the objects of an array. Going and removing the elements means, let's say in this object, how many elements is there? 3 elements is there. But how many elements I want to see in the output means, let's say I want to only see the 2 elements. What I want to see means, I want to see only the course name and I want to see what? Course duration. I don't want to get the trainers in the output. I want to see only the course and duration. So how to go and remove the elements? I want to remove an element here in the object of an array. What's that element I want to remove? Trainer. So how to remove it? Now see, let me go to this. So here, already shown you how to rename it. Let just go and keep it as course. Let me keep it as duration, and let me remove the trainer. I don't want to keep the trainer, just remove it. So this is the input, guys. What is the input? This is my input. So but in the output I want to get what? Only course and then duration. So just save it. Just save it. Click on test. Click on run flow. Click on done. Let me check whether I am able to remove the elements in the array or not. Now this is the input, guys. Array of objects. Go to the select. What's the input I'm passing here? Let me go and click on the raw input. Go to the input. Now see, this is the input. So in the input, what I'm passing, how many objects is there? 3 objects. In each object, how many items is there? 3 items. But in the output, if you go to the output, now see, this is the array of objects I'm getting. So now each object contains how many items? Only 2 items. But in the array, actually, how many items is there? 3 items is there. So I'm removing the elements in the objects of an array or not? Yes. So with the help of select, we are able to remove the objects. Sorry, we are able to remove the elements of an objects in an array. So next, I said that we are able to add the elements to an array. We are able to what? Add what? Elements. So let's say this is the input I'm having, right? Course, duration, and trainer. Let's say I want to add one more here, guys. I want to add one more. Let me keep calm. What's the one more element I want to add it here is details. So let's say I want to add one more element called details. Now what I want to add it here is, I want to go and add the course. What's the course? Power Apps. Next, what is the duration? 60 days. Next, what is the trainer name? Winky. So here I'm adding one element to the object in the array. So what's that element I'm adding? Details. In this details, what I'm keeping here? Course name, duration, and trainer name. I'm keeping all the elements. Like this, I want to add an element to an object in the array. Now how to add the elements? So just remove it. Just for example, I'm keeping. Just remove it. Now how to go and add the elements to an objects in an array? Let me go to this. Now try to understand, guys. Let me go and add one more, that is trainer. Let me go and keep here what? Trainer. Sorry, just remove it. Go to the expressions, paste it here, and click on OK. Now I'm keeping the trainer course, duration, and then trainer. Next, I want to add another one more element to this. What's the element I want to add it here is, let's say details. So in the details, what I want to add? First, I want to go and add them. Go to the expressions. First, I want to add what? I want to keep the course. Just click on OK. Just go and click on OK. Next, give some space. Sorry. Click on update. Now select this. Now give some space. Go to the expression again. Just copy and paste the same function. Now I think here we are doing some mistake, spelling mistake. Trainer. Click on update. Now go to this. Now here again go to the dynamic content. Go to the expressions. Copy and paste the same. Let me go and keep here what course. Click on OK. Next, keep some space. Next, go to the expression again. Copy and paste the same. Next, I want to go and keep here what duration. Click on OK. Next, I want to go and keep what I want to go and keep what now trainer. So whatever the above is there, I'm adding just one element here, guys. Just go and click on OK. Now just save it. Just go and save it and click on test. Test the flow manually. Now just go and click on run flow. Click on done. Now let me check whether it is adding an element to the objects in an array or not. Now see, when I scroll down, this is the select statement. Select. When I go to the input, now in the input, these are the objects. Each objects contain how many elements? Only 3 elements. Now when I go to the output, raw output, now see, each object contains how many elements now? 4 elements. What is the element I'm adding here? Details. In this details, what I'm keeping? Course. It is not showing the trainer. I think spelling mistake. Just 1 second. Yes. Click on update. Save it. Test the flow. Click on run. Now scroll down. Now the input is 3 elements in an object, but in the output, if you see, I'm keeping what? How many elements is there in the object now? 4 elements. What's the element I'm adding? Details is the element. So in the details, what I'm keeping here? Course name, duration, and then trainer name. So like this, if you want to add the elements to an object, yes, you can go and add the elements to an object in the array. So this is what the select data operation will do. The select data operation is used for what? Transform the shape of the objects in an array. So what transformations you can do? You can go and rename the elements in the array. You can remove the elements in an array of objects, and you can add the elements to an array of objects. And but if you see, we cannot change the number of objects in an array. Now see, in this array, how many objects is there? 3 objects is there. So with the help of the select, we are not able to change the number of objects. That means if I want to remove one object, I'm not able to remove. If I want to add one object, I'm not able to add the objects. So just this select is used for what means transformation, adding the elements, remove or rename only the elements, not an objects. So this, with the help of the select, we cannot change the number of objects in an array. Just we can only do what? We can change the elements of an object, we can remove the elements of an object, and we can add an element to an object, but we are not able to change the number of objects in an array. So this is what the select. Now suppose think that I want to remove the elements from an array. Sorry, not an element. I want to remove the object from an array. Now how to remove the objects? This is one object. I want to remove this object from this array. Now how to remove the objects from an array? If you want to go and remove the objects from an array, then go and use what? Filter array. So this select is used to just to transform, not able to change the number of objects in an array. If you want to remove, that means change the number of objects in an array, go and use what? Filter array. What is the use of this filter array means? It is used to filter the number of objects in an array. Let's say in this array I'm having 3 objects, but I want to see in the output only 2 objects. I don't want to get the SQL Server course details in the output. So if you want to filter the number of objects in an array, then go and use what? Filter array. Now this filter array is case sensitive case. This filter array is case sensitive. You need to, whenever if you are keeping, you need to keep the sentences in the case sensitive. And also how many conditions you can pass in the filter array means it will allows only one filter condition, not possible to define more than one filter. I said that filter array is used for what? To filter the number of objects. Now how many filter conditions you can pass means only one filter condition, not possible to pass more than one filter condition. This is what the filter array. Now let me go to the Power Automate and let me show you how to go and use this filter array. Now go and add one new step. Now let me go and search for data operations. Let me go and add what now? Filter array. Let me go and add the filter array. Now see, first is asking us from what is expecting? Array to filter. That means it is asking us to pass the array. Which array you want to filter? Let me go and pass the input as this is the input I'm passing is array of objects. If you see, I'm having one compose here. In this compose, what I'm having? Array of objects. So whatever the values I'm having in this array, in this compose, the values I want to go and keep it here. So select what? Array of objects output. Next, choose a value. Now here, based on what you want to go and filter the data. Let's say I want to go and filter the data based on the course case. If the course is equals to Power Apps, then only I want to see the details. Remaining courses details I don't want to see. So I want to filter the array. So if you want to filter the data, choose the value. Here what you need to go and pass here is, you need to go and pass the items, open brackets and closed brackets. And then here I want to filter the data based on what? Course. I want to filter the data based on what? Course. Course is equals to what? Power Apps. Course is equals to what? Power Apps. If the course is, what is the operator I'm using here? Equal to. Here we have the different types of operators case. Contains, does not contains, equals to, not equals to, greater than or equals to, less than or equals to, starts with, does not starts with, ends with, does not ends with. You can go and use any operator based on your requirement. I'm using what here? Is equals to. What is equals to? Power Apps. What Power Apps? Course. If course is equals to Power Apps, those objects only I want to get from this array. Let me go and save it. Now test the flow. Let me check I'm able to filter the array of objects or not with the help of this filter array. Click on done. Now scroll down. This is the filter array. Now what is the input case? This is the input I'm passing. Array of objects. Now what is the output? If you go to the output, it's not showing any data. Just 1 second. I think somehow we are doing mistake. Just remove this. Go to the expressions. Keep here. And let me change it to course. Click on OK. Now it will work. Previously, I am using this on the dynamic content case. That's why it is not allowing us. Go to the expression. In the expression, you need to go and write it. Now save the flow. Test it now. Let me check it is filtering the array or not. As I said that the input is I'm having the multiple objects in the array, but in the output, if you see what's the output I'm getting, which objects details I'm getting here. Course is equals to Power Apps. Remaining courses, Power BI I'm not getting, SQL Server courses I'm not getting here. Which course details I'm getting here? Only the course is equals to Power Apps I'm getting here. So here it is filtering the array of objects or not. Yes, this is the input. In the input, how many courses details is there? Power Apps, Power BI, SQL. But in the output, I want to get only what? Where the course name is equals to Power Apps. Remaining, I don't want to get. So if you go to the dynamic, if you go to the raw output, in the output, what I'm getting at the course name is equals to Power Apps. So if I keep here not equals to, let me go and edit. When I go and keep here not equals to, what happens? Is not equals to means if the course name is not equals to Power Apps, those objects I'm able to get. Just test the flow. Now you will get two objects. What are those two objects? Course name is equals to Power BI and course name is equals to SQL Server. Let me run the flow. Why I'm able to get the two means? Because I'm using the operator is what? not equals to power apps, then I want to get the remaining objects. Now see, input is what? The input is objects of an array, but in the output, if you see, I'm going to get what? Two courses details, two objects I'm getting. One is Power BI, second is what? SQL. Power apps I'm not getting. Why? Because the operator I'm using here is what? Because the operator we are using here is not equals to operator. So this is what the functionality of this filter array. And next, what the next one is? What the next one is? Create a CSV table. What is this data operation? Create CSV table means it is used to change. It is used to change the JSON array to a comma separated value, that is a CSV table. CSV stands for what? Comma separated value. Whatever the data I'm having in the JSON array, I want to convert that data into what? A CSV table. CSV table means what? Comma separated value. Now, if you see here, I'm having one object of an array. If you go to the array of objects, if you go to this compose, here I'm having the array of objects. Whatever the data I'm having in this array, I want to convert this data into CSV file, and not CSV file, into CSV format. Now how to convert it? So go and add what? A new step. So what's the step I want to add? Let me go and add the step called data operations. Let me select the data operation is what? Create a CSV table. Let me go and select it. Now from, so here we need to pass the array of input. So what is the array I'm passing here? So let me pass this array of objects. Now just save it. Just you need to pass the input case. Once after passing the input, just test it. Now let me check whether it is converting the JSON array data into a comma separated value or not. That is CSV table. Now see, this is the create CSV table. Now what is the input? Array. Input is what? Array. Now if you see, go to the output. What is the output? Let me show you here. What's the output is showing? Comma separated by a value. So this is the header, course duration and trainer. What's the course? Power Apps, Power BI, SQL. What's the duration? 60 days, 60 days, 30 days. And what's the trainer? Venki, Sunil, and then Venki. So if you see, I'm converting the JSON array to what? A comma separated value. This is the CSV format, guys. Comma separated value. So if you want to go and convert the JSON array to a comma separated value into a CSV table, then go and use what? Create CSV table. And next one is what? Create HTML table. What is the use of this data operation? Create HTML table is this data operation. It is used to change the JSON array to a HTML table. Now see, I'm having the JSON array. This is an array. I want to convert this array, whatever the data I'm having in the array, I want to convert into a HTML table. HTML table. HTML means what? Hypertext markup language. Now how to convert the uh, array of data into a HTML table? So for this you need to go and use what? Create a HTML table. Let me go to the flow. Let me go to the flow. Let me go and add an action. What's that action I want to take now? First let me go to the data operations. Now what's the data operation I want to add it now? Create a HTML table. Let me go and select the create HTML table. Now here we need to go and pass the array of objects. So what is the array of objects I'm passing here is? So this is the input I'm going to pass. So what is there in this array of objects? These values will be there. This is the data I'm in this array of objects. Let me select this one. Object array of objects. Now see, let me go and save it and then test the flow. Let me check whether it is converting the array data into a HTML table or not. Now see, this is the action I'm doing. Create HTML table. Now the input is what? Array of objects. Now what is the output? If you see, it is keeping the HTML format, but how it looks like means this is the way how it looks like. Now it is converting to what? Into a table or not? Yes, it is converting into a table. So these are the this is the header, course, duration, and trainer, and this is the data. So I'm converting the data in the array into what format? Into tabular format. That is HTML tables. So if you want to convert the array of objects into a HTML table, then go and use what? Create HTML table. And finally, there is one more data action, data operation, that is what? Parse JSON. So what is the JSON means? JavaScript object notation. Now, what is this parse JSON means? It is used to get the property value of the JSON object. And the next one is, it is used to generate the schema for a JSON object. So the first point is, with the parse JSON, you are able to get the property values of a JSON object. And second one is, if you have an array, for that array, if you want to generate the schema of the JSON object, you can go and generate it. Let me go to the Power Automate and let me show you how to get the property values of an object, JSON object, and how to generate the schema of a JSON object. Let me go to this, edit the flow. Let me go and add one new step. So go to the data operations. Now what's the data operation I want to add here? Parse JSON. Let me go and select this data operation, parse JSON. Now content, what's the content I can pass here, guys? Let me go and pass the content as array. So array of objects. Let me pass the array of objects. Now schema, I said that with the help of this parse JSON, you are able to generate the schema of JSON. So if you have the array, if you want to convert that array into JSON format, so you need to write some code. But here you know to go and write any code here, guys. So if you go to the schema, just copy and paste this JSON array, that is array of objects. Now whatever the array I'm entering here, it is going to convert into JSON schema. Just select this. Now go and click on generate from sample. Now enter the array here, click on done. Now see, when I click on it, now it is changing the complete array into what? A JSON objects. So type array, items, in items, type object, properties, course type. What is the course type? It is a string. Duration is what? It is also a string. Next, trainer is what? It is a string. Now what values it is storing? So it is generating one schema here. So this is the JSON object schema. You don't need to go and generate. If you have the array, just copy and paste it, automatically generate. And next I said that it is going to get the property values of a JSON object. How to get the property values? So this is the JSON I'm having. I want to get the properties from this. Now what property you want to get? You want to get the course, you want to get the type, or you want to get the, you want to get the course, duration, or trainer name. What you want to get from this properties? So let me go to this. Let me go and add one new action. So let me go and take the compose. Let me go and take the compose. Now here, if you go here, parse JSON, if you see in the dynamic content, you are able to see called what? Parse JSON. Under the parse JSON, in the parse JSON, you are able to see the properties. Course is one property, duration is one property, trainer is one property, item is property, body is one property. Let's say from this, what I want to select means which property I want to select here is course property. I want to select the course. Now just go and save the flow. Run this, test it. Run the flow. Click on done. Now go here. Just wait. It is running the flow still now. Now the flow is ready. Now parse JSON. Now see what this parse JSON is doing. So if I pass the input, so it is going to generate one schema for the array. It is going to generate the JSON schema. Next, I said that with the parse JSON, you are able to get the property values. Now what is the property I'm getting here is course property. So when I go to the compose, here I'm getting the course. So how many objects is there? 3 objects is there. From each objects I'm getting what? Course Power Apps. When I go to the next here, next it is showing what? Power BI. When I go to the next, it is showing what? SQL Server. So you are able to get the properties of the JSON object. So this is what the functionality of this parse JSON. So these are the different types of data operations we'll have. What's the different types of data operations means? Totally we'll have the 7 types of data operations. What is the use of this data operations is? These data operations are used to manipulate the data in the flows. So what type of manipulations you are able to perform? just now we discussed with the help of these different types of data operations. This data operations is somewhat important, guys. In the interviews, there may be a chance of asking the questions. So please go and concentrate once. So just try to understand what it is, what is what. Fine. Let me stop here.